Let's see what. My apologies, fam. My apologies. Little computer problem here. It shut us down, but we're grabbing it. We're back at it. Looks like we're here right now. Let me just go ahead and share it and send it out. My apologies. I'm redoing it. If you're back with me, let me know. Send a message. Just say hello, say hi, say forget you, I'm gone, I'm done. Just say something. I'm just trying to send it back out. There it is. Okay. Little computer situation going on, but I got it fixed. Bear with me. All right. AP says he's back. Urban. Man. All right. If you're back with me, let me know. AP says he's here. Anybody else here? Drop Squad 52 from California is back in here. Well, he's here. I don't know if he left or came back or what. He says, "What up, Wyatt-Live? What's good, family?" Sorry about that, guys. We had a little computer problem. I don't know if they about to do me because they already know I'm a little hot about some of the DMs I got about my opinion of the situation that we spoke on yesterday. What's up with everybody? Yeah, I understand. I understand. I get it. Hold on one second. Sorry, guys. I've had a little computer problem, but we're back at it. If you're still here with me, let me know that you're here. I appreciate you tuning in and being here. I'm gonna have to address a few of the things in my DM, in the messenger, in my private messenger, and some people really was not feeling my opinion about the Will Smith and Chris Rock situation. That's okay. I'm not here to have you agree with me. It would be nice. But what I'm here to do is give you a different perspective of seeing some things. And now that you've let the story and the situation breathe a little bit, you probably have a little bit of a better, maybe you think different now. Maybe when one of your local or your worldwide famous people have their opinion about what happened, maybe now the way you feel about what happened has changed a little bit. Maybe they opened up your mind to a different situation. Maybe Will Smith's apology has you thinking different about what he did. Maybe you would have done exactly what Will Smith done, and you would stick on your circle about it. Maybe. But all I'm going to do, and I'm not going to talk about this the whole time, trust me, I can't stomach shit like this. It's ignorant to me. Yeah, y'all should have heard. I'm gonna let you know some of the DMs. I had them written down. I kind of wrote them down in code a little bit. I'm not gonna write down all of them or print them out and all that. I'm not gonna give it that kind of energy. But you should have heard how some of the sisters went in on me because of how I felt. My opinion about how I felt Will handled it wrong. I just didn't think it should have been done. I didn't think it should have been done the way it was done. But since it's not your way, it's not the way that you thought was cool, or you was so much on riding Will's bird because that's how he did it and he was a gangster for doing it that way. If I give you an alternative way of handling that same piece of business, you got a motherfucking problem with me. It's almost like saying, I'm a punk because I won't rob the bank with a gun and run in the front door and just be like, freeze, and do some set it off shit. Y'all got to understand, speaking of set it off, I don't think y'all understand how much I really, 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 really like Jada Smith. I like her when she was Jada Pickett. I like her when she was Jada Smith, Jada Pickett Smith. Hell, if you've been with me on Wyatt-Live, I see Jada Pickett Smith every day of my life. Every day of my life, I see Jada Pickett. Who don't believe me? Who don't believe me? Who don't believe me that I see that woman every day of my life? Do you think I'm obsessed with her? Like I go online and be like, oh yeah, she got on blue today. No. If you know me, you know that I have sentimental value because of a certain element of a movie that Jada Smith played in that I felt to be so much in common to my life that I honor her by having her up on my wall. And this was well before all this shit that's going on right now. Y'all should know that. If you watch Wyatt-Live, you know this. But if you look over my shoulder here, how about I point it out to you? How about I point it out to you? How about I show you how right? Why don't I show you real fast? I'm going to stand up and I'm going to walk over to my wall and I'm going to show you Miss Beautiful, gorgeous. Regardless if she has hair or no hair or whatever, Jada Pickett Smith is a gorgeous woman to me. And I'm going to go right over my shoulder and I'm going to show you that she's always been a queen in my book. All right, I'm going to point her out to you. Have I moved anything? We got Latifah. We got Frankie. We got Jada. Been part of my life since Wyatt-Live has started. I'd say maybe 6 months after Wyatt-Live started. Once I created this area here as a studio, Jada's been with me every day. Part of the conversations and sitting there chilling, she got my back. Some of y'all think this shit is corny, but I only put purpose stuff on my walls. Ink-based paintings. Say what you say about me, but I kind of put my money where my mouth is. Let me see if I can take a call starting out because I got a lot to say in a short period of time, but I'm going to take a call and see if I could maybe set the tone off right. Good evening, caller. This is Wyatt. Who am I speaking with?
You are speaking to your West Coast connection, the one and only Black Not Democrat, also known as Drop Squad 52. What up, Wyatt-Live?
Drop. What's good with you, brother? How's that weather out on the West Coast?
Man, it was rainy today, but I got my 5 miles in. And when I walked out the door, the sun was shining, a little overcast. When I walked back, the raindrops started. So the timing was perfect.
Okay.
My old ass is out now.
I hear you, brother.
This my big day where I walk like 5, almost 6 miles. And then the rest of the week, I stick to my like 3. But Wyatt, yesterday, who was that crazy woman? She had your ass spinning around in circles, and I can see it on your face, Wyatt. You ain't want to hang up on her, but I know you too nice, Wyatt.
No, you talking about my sister. You talking about that's my we all cool over here. I let everybody get they jump on. I let everybody say what they got to say. See, I'm not a man that kind of, number one, I don't judge people for their opinions. Number two, I don't shame people for their opinions because in their minds, their opinion is probably what's right. So I give everybody a fair shake at whatever, here it is. When you have an opinion that I don't agree with, I'll give you the time to try to convince me. Okay, I don't have a problem with that. Matter of fact, I love it. I love the challenge of, wait a minute, hold on. That don't sound like anything I would ever agree with, but try to convince me. I'm okay with that. Like, I love that in life. But sometimes just no matter how you poke the bear, it's just not going to roll over.
And that was the case yesterday.
Yeah.
Wyatt, I was listening, right? And I'm looking at the clock. I'm listening to her. I'm looking at you on my TV. I'm listening to the clock. I'm watching the clock. I'm looking at you. And I'm like, come on, lady, get to the finish line.
Yeah, yeah.
Fucking Wyatt been carrying. You trying to get her over the line, but she just ain't having it.
Well, here,
anyway.
Well, Drop. Let me say. Let me say this one thing about that, Drop. Here's what I do. I'm gonna be honest with the people who are listening right now, and those that may have been here yesterday or who weren't here yesterday, who don't know what you're talking about. I will say this. Because I don't agree with someone, I read the comments on the screen, and there are people that be like, yeah, girl, tell his ass. Yeah, girl. So I gotta let it go, because I don't agree, don't mean there's other people that don't think just like that or will agree. So I'm like, okay, I'll let it roll out. There was definitely some people was like, next caller, please, and all that old shit. But there was also some people that were saying, tell his ass, you right. You should never joke on a black woman's hair and all this old shit. And I'm like, okay, let it go. And that's not me joking on my sister. That was me saying, okay, well, shit, I can't say it was 50-50, but if you can get 40% of the people saying that you saying some shit that's valid in your world and in your mind, there's other people that agree. So I gotta let her speak her piece, because, man, maybe, just maybe, she might say something that can convert my way of thinking in that matter. So if other people are thinking that way, maybe with a combination of all of them, they can convert my way of thinking, bro. You understand what I'm saying? Like, listen, bro, I don't think that Will Smith did anything wrong other than what he did. You get what I'm saying? If that make any sense, I would have done the same thing. I just would have done it different. That's all I was saying.
Okay, Wyatt. Before the lady came on, I had to go in circles. Fame Rothstein, the owner operator of the Betting Public sports show.
Yeah.
He kind of said it, but this is my take, though, Wyatt. This is my take. Okay, I watched it from when Chris told the joke. Okay, he called in and said, "I love you, Jada, but G.I. Jane Part 2, right?" And they showed Will. Because they were sitting in chairs, but it wasn't like they were at a table. It was kind of like they were at different tables, but they turned their chairs around to face the stage, right?
Yeah, right.
So they showed the shot where you could see Will on the left of your screen, Jada in that horrible green dress.
Come on.
Right.
That was a bad dress. That was a nice dress, bro.
I'm keeping it real, Wyatt.
It was a nice dress to me.
Chris says the joke. Will busting out laughing, not just a smile, but teeth, mouth open, and she rolled her eyes. She had that look, Wyatt. You married, I was married. We know that look. And then they go to Chris, right? And then they widen out the shot, and here comes Will walking into the shot. Mm-hmm. Now, the reason I said initially that I thought it was staged was because that first part with Jada and Will together, and she rolling her eyes, him laughing, and then they show him walking up to the stage. And I heard Chris, because in the beginning I couldn't hear Chris say anything. So I hear Chris kind of say, oh. And he stood there, he took it like a man, so to speak. And then Will turns around and walks off. And then I hear your take, and I heard Fame Rothstein's take earlier that day. But I hear your take, Wyatt, and you are 100% right. Chris Rock claimed, I think yesterday, through his spokespeople, whatever, that he didn't know about the alopecia.
I believe him. Right? I believe him.
And when I heard that today, after hearing what you said yesterday with that lady, I'm like, the whole time on your show yesterday, I'm agreeing with you, Wyatt, but you always have a different point of view than the mainstream social media out there. And we know why. I ain't even going that way.
Okay.
But your perspective needs to be heard. Now, I got a couple things before I go, because this is on Jada Pinkett Smith. All of it, Wyatt. All of it.
You know you're going to have to explain that.
Okay, this is why. Because Will Smith, Denzel Washington, Samuel Jackson, and Morgan Freeman, those are the 4 Hollywood icons in my lifetime. Now, you know I'm 61 going on 62, Wyatt.
Okay.
Then Will Smith being the youngest. Then you go up to Sam Jackson and Denzel. They're around the same name. And then Morgan Freeman, the OG. There's no other black person that can either put together the amount of movies that these 4 men have done, let alone their status in Hollywood as black lead actors.
Okay.
And here's my point, Wyatt. You don't see Denzel Washington's wife nowhere on social media telling all of Denzel's shit in the street. You don't see Sam Jackson's wife on a podcast nowhere talking about Sam. You don't see Morgan Freeman's wife. So I put all of this on Jada Pinkett Smith. And you explained yesterday the history with August Alsina, with the, what did she call it? She didn't call it infidelity. She called it some
entanglement.
Crazy Hollywood stuff.
Entanglement,
right.
Yeah, which...
And the whole thing of Will's Will's acceptance speech, when he basically tried to say that he was forced to do this because all these years he had to sit back and take shit and listen to people talk about his family like you did yesterday with his confused children. And again, Wyatt, this is freaking Hollywood. It's fake. It's scripted. None of this shit, I think, is freaking real. Don't nobody care about Will Smith up there crying.
Drop. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, because I'll lose. You know, I'm old, bro. I'll lose my train of thought. You know how that is sometimes, and you got a valid point. And I want to kind of piggyback on your point and ask you a question off of your point. But did you find it not strange that Will was like 3 characters that night?
Exactly.
He was 3 characters that night. Even from the apology, from the acceptance speech, he went from bad boy, the bad boy with Martin Lawrence. That's the guy that went up and smacked the shit out of Chris Rock. And that's the guy who went back and sat down. Did he not look like one of his characters in his movie when he was like, keep my wife's name out? That, trust me, bro, if that would have been almost anybody else, Will Smith does not make that move on 90% of people in Hollywood up there being the spokesperson or the presenter of, or who did what Chris Rock was doing. Will Smith don't do that to probably 80 or 90% of the people. I said it yesterday, Drop. He picked a soft target. It was a chump ass, bullshit ass, bitch ass move, to be honest with you, because he knew he was going after somebody that wasn't going to hit him back. And I could tell by the way, I said it yesterday, how he hit him and then just turned his back and walk off. I don't know nobody that'll do somebody like that. That's what you know what, bro? It almost slipped out of some people's mind, out of their mouth, when I heard some people say he slapped him like, and I hate to say it because I'm a total advocate. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna say the shit. It's gonna hurt me to say this, but I'm a total advocate against domestic violence. But I heard people saying things like, that's how men slap women. I've heard people say that online and stuff, and they know that they slapping somebody that ain't gonna slap their ass back. That's what I've been hearing out here in social media. Not that I'm following it. It's just I hear people making that point. That just makes my point of him picking a soft target, bro. He knew Chris Rock wasn't going to do anything. Here's what I heard Fame say yesterday. When he said Will Smith needs help, I agreed with him, because what I see here is what a lot of men who may not even want to agree with this because they got women that they have to be careful of. To be honest with you, bro, I see a brother that I feel sorry for. I don't care how much money he has. Money is a Band-Aid over bullet wounds. It only holds up for so long. And I see an emotional, broke down man who's not happy. And I see how easily he was switched into so many characters that night. From a bad guy to a super apologetic guy to dancing on the dance floor with his Grammy Award like didn't shit happen. The man has been manipulated so much that to be honest with you, man, this gonna get me cut off by all my female viewers, but to be honest with you, bro, I see a man who has been manipulated by his woman so tough that he has learned to adapt to to a way of living where he has to be fake all the time. He cannot be him.
Let me add something to that, and then I'm gonna let you
go ahead, brother. I'm sorry.
Earlier.
Go ahead.
Your show is short, and I want to hear other people's point of view. But the other thing that Fame Rothstein mentioned yesterday that you left out was that slap was not necessarily for Chris Rock.
I agree.
Based on all that shit that was built up in Will Smith, and then you add on the fact of the open hand slap. Fame Rothstein said that slap was for August Alsina, if I'm not mistaken. But I think, based on how he did it and the way it happened, and you put everything in context that night, I think that slap to the left side of Chris Rock's face was intended for his wife.
No, that's what Fame said.
Okay, well, I agree with Fame because I also heard it. I was listening to Reverend Al Sharpton the day before I turned you on, and he had a fill-in. He's a reverend. He's a minister. I can't remember his name, but anyway, a caller called in and said exactly what you said about the bitch slap, and the caller said the only time a man slaps somebody like that is a child, and he was getting ready to say woman, but the preacher, the minister, cut him off and just started laughing. He said, "Bro, I can't let you get that off."
That's what I've been hearing.
Nothing you say when he said you slap kids like that. But anyway, Wyatt, thanks, man. You keep doing what you do. But that caller yesterday, man, it had me dying. And I'm looking at Wyatt. I'm like, that brother got a good heart. But anyway, Wyatt-Live, you keep exposing the chaos agents, even if one of them is one of Hollywood's biggest black stars.
I can't let you go right this second. You got 30 seconds to answer a question?
Yes, sir.
Remember yesterday I made a comment. You brought up Chaos Agent. Thank you for reminding me. But didn't I tell you that Chaos Agents, if this was Brad Pitt being a white dude, and if it was Brad Pitt and Charlie Sheen up there and the same thing happened and nobody got arrested, what would the Chaos Agents be saying right now? See, if that was some black guys, they would go to jail like right now. Like right now. And they would even use clean ass Will Smith in their examples. They would be like, if that was Will Smith up there, or if Will Smith clean ass was the one that walked up there, his black ass would get arrested.
Wyatt, man, you read my mind because yesterday, I swear, on my Twitter account, I started to do my hashtag, which I do because you know how I tweak, I use satire, I use humor. I wanted to say so bad, what if Will Smith was white? Because again, Wyatt, I can give a close example. You remember when Kanye West blew up Taylor Swift's spot at the Grammys, right?
Yep.
And it became almost a domestic terrorist issue. They asked President Obama. Obama called Kanye a jackass, and he didn't touch the woman.
No physical.
But again, we see how they're treating Will Smith. Okay, because it was two heterosexual, black, 1% talented 10th brothers who don't have that image per se, especially Will Smith. And like you said, I mean, Wyatt, the man displayed 4 or 5 different personalities
in one night.
Now again, it's freaking Hollywood. But like you said, Wyatt, I've heard from range of it's Trump's fault. Howard Stern said because the way Trump acted, they just allowed Will Smith.
Right, I've heard
it. This shit is crazy.
Just keep in mind, bro, there's always going to be someone. Listen, man, that's why I brought up the Chaos Agent part of it yesterday when I said if it was 2 white dudes, you would hear most Chaos Agents right now talk about how privileged white people are. And if that's why they don't get arrested for doing shit like that. Now, here we have 2 of the most cleanest black guys in Hollywood, in our black community, that are A-list actors. Okay, some of the highest paid in movies. You're looking at 2 of them, and the same shit that would have happened to some white dudes happened to them. So I just want to hear what their excuse is now. I just want to hear, what the excuse is now. What do you say to that? Why didn't Will Smith? Let me tell you something. Y'all would be saying Will Smith, if that was Will Smith who punched somebody, he would be going to jail. That's how they do black folks. That's what y'all would be saying. That's what they would be saying. We can't do the shit that they do. If we do that shit, and y'all know, and if that was Chris Rock and Will Smith who did that, and Will Smith went up there and punched Chris Rock in the mouth, they wouldn't even need Chris Rock to press charges. The state would be pressing charges on Negroes. The state would be charging them. It wouldn't take nobody to be doing that shit. The state would do it. Well, where's the state at right now? Let's just play what y'all be playing all the time. The what ifs and if this and if that would happen and if it would have been this and if it would have been that, this would have happened and that would. Well, goddamn, it happened. And it's exactly what you thought it would. I mean, come on now. Will Smith is supposed to be locked up. He would be out already on bond.
Yeah, he's been out on bond. Yeah.
But he physically assaulted a man. And here's the thing. He physically assaulted Chris Rock. And I'm going to tell you something, bro. This is going to lose a lot of people. People ain't going to rock with me. They already leaving because of my analogy of what I just broke down. And that's fine. You know me. I don't care.
You a runaway slave.
Yeah, that's cool. I be free. I be free. You know, I just be free. But anyway, I'm just going to tell you. Will Smith was supposed to get arrested. He was supposed to get escorted out of the building for committing a physical assault. Now, here's the thing. I told people to fall back and find out if Chris Rock. Let's hear from Chris Rock. Let's see if he truly knew. Now, if this brother knew that there was some issues with Jada and her hair, how could you ever figure that out with a family that do all the shit that they do? They do misfit shit all the time. Okay, they do misfit shit. I don't mean it disrespectfully. They're Hollywood royalty. They do things to stay in the trend. They are trendsetters. So when you shave off half your head, which Willow has done, Jaden has done, and they've all done this shit at the same time, that I've never heard in the media that Jada had cancer. I never heard that she had what she has with this head disease. I never heard anything like that. So why is it so ridiculous when I read my DMs and people attack me for feeling the way I feel about, well, Chris Rock said some bullshit. He's supposed to get chin checked. First of all, in the streets, that's not a chin check. That was a fucking slap. A chin check is when a nigga come up and punch you in your mouth. Okay, so get it right, you thugs. The gangsters that want to be gangsters. See, they leave and drop. They don't like this conversation. They don't like the realness. I'm just.
You can blame it on me, Wyatt.
Well, no, you ain't saying shit. It's me. It's me. I say what I say, bro. They ain't gotta listen, man. Listen, trust me. The same folks that don't like the fact that I'm saying that Will Smith did some sucker shit, they the same ones that be trying to get their boyfriends and shit out of jail for doing sucker shit. Same ones. Same ones as defending your honor and don't really know how to defend your honor the right way. You feel good. Tiffany Haddish. Now, y'all know I hate to say this shit because it's going to sound like I'm attacking sis. But she said the most hoodish shit in the world. She walking down out of the Oscars and she said some shit about Will and them know how I feel. They know how I feel. If he didn't get up and do, see, this is the problem right here, Drop. She said, if he wouldn't have got up and defended my honor, it would have been a tough night at home. Now, didn't I say that shit yesterday? Did I not say if that nigga wouldn't have got up and did something to that dude or went up there and said some fly shit? Now, Jada didn't know he was going to go up there and put hands on him, but she did think he was going to go up there and set the record straight. Okay,
but Wyatt, in Will's acceptance speech, he said exactly that. He said it's about time that I defend my family.
But you know what, Drop? He also said in his personal biography, and this is from his own words, he also said that he feels like a sucker. He feels like a loser, and he feels like he's soft. And he said, people think I'm soft. I feel like I'm soft because I let people get away with so much.
He is soft. He just told everybody he was so soft. He had to do
something.
What he did on national TV on the night he received an Oscar from the Academy that just 7 years ago, him and his wife coined the hashtag Oscar so damn white. Come on, Wyatt.
Listen, bro, let me tell you something. I'm going to say something people ain't going to like, but most of them that they ain't going to like it, they already done left, so that's cool.
That's what I'm getting ready to say.
Let me just say this to you, bro. Will Smith did not show that he was a gangster by slapping somebody that was not going to hit his ass back. That's not gangster, all right? If he would have slapped, wait a minute, hold on. If he would have went up there and slapped Aquaman, you know what I'm saying? The dude that played Aquaman.
Yeah, I know you talking about.
Or if he would have went up there and slapped motherfucking the dude, you know, Pinky, not Pinky, but the dude, the muscle dude, Terry Crews or one of them dudes. Yeah. You gangster. Yeah. Nigga, you gangster. You go up there and smack somebody that's bigger than you. But I think Fame Rothstein said some of the funniest shit I've ever heard him say.
Oh man, he was on the road yesterday.
He said that Will Smith went up there and slapped Chris Rock, and Chris Rock looked like he looked like a tall 8th grader.
see, that's because Fame is so involved in sports. I knew exactly what he meant because I was too. I was a high school basketball referee.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
That's why I rock with Fame, man. That dude be having me cracking up. But Wyatt, all I gotta say before I go is that it's unfortunate that Will Smith did what he did. Throughout his career, he neglected his family because we all know in Hollywood it takes 3-4 months to shoot movies, and Will did a lot of movies. So based on what I've seen up to this point, to this date, with the whole saga of the Will and Jada Smith family, going back over these almost 30 years since Will has been a prominent actor in America, that the man is in a midlife crisis, Wyatt. It's so obvious, but it's just that he's a public figure. So the public doesn't know him personally, but when he does things like this and he tries to tell us that he done had a problem for 30 years, most people can't relate because most people ain't seen a lot of the stuff that me and you know about. All they saw was that man getting slapped. But anyway, Wyatt, my other phone's ringing. I got to go, brother. I'll keep listening. And Drop Squad 52, dropping science to anyone who wants to catch it. Peace out.
Peace out, brother. That's Drop out of California. I'm glad to see that he was able to give us his words of wisdom in his own kind of way. I appreciate you, Drop. We don't always agree, but when we don't agree, we will agree to disagree. How about all those agrees? Hey, let me just say this. I'm going to say something, and y'all can feel how you want to feel about how I feel about it. But Will Smith is definitely tougher mentally than a lot of folks, because Will Smith is going through something that a lot of men go through that are married and been married for many years. If you've ever listened to me on Wyatt-Live, I've always said something like this. Remember this. If you've heard this before, just say to yourself, yeah, why I do say shit like that. I always said, if you see a couple and everybody is totally happy, there's somebody that ain't happy in that relationship. If the man is having his way and everything is Gucci and gravy for him and he's loving life, she ain't all the way happy. And let's reverse it. If she's super duper happy and everything is perfect in her beautiful world, picket house with the nice fence, great cars, swimming pools, everything is Gucci in her life, he ain't happy. That's a very hard combination to find. I don't care who you are in this world. I'm going to tell you something. I don't know Will Smith personally, but the people that you ever hear about him working with, small people is what they call them in Hollywood, they all complain about Will. Power hungry. It's his way or no way. You know he take that same way home. Except what I see is he's being done like that at home, and that's why he treats everybody out there like that. It's almost like the old man syndrome where the brother, I'm gonna say this, and I don't know any other way to say it. Okay, it's the black man who has this job amongst people that disrespect him, but he wants to keep this good paying job. I'm talking about back in the day. And he's treated like shit on the job. And he has a family at home and they love him to death, but he might be rough on them because the only place that he can be, where he exercises his aggression, may be on easy targets, and that sometimes happens at home. And I think it's just the opposite with Will Smith. I think what happens is he can't do his aggression at home, so he takes it out on people outside of home when he's on the workforce. I mean, you know, like in movies, or when he did, like Aunt Viv. She told it all. The first Aunt Viv. She's told he's just a power hungry kid. Y'all can say he was a kid, but he only got richer and more powerful at that point. So I don't understand why you would think he would be a better person when power is getting bigger and stronger. That's generally not what happens. You get worse. The more powerful you become, the more standoffish and the more you want it your way amongst people. The one way he couldn't get it was with Jada, I can guarantee you. Jada from Baltimore, y'all. I mean, I don't know if y'all know, but she ain't really no slouch when it come down to that manipulation game. Jada is probably the only person on this planet that can do Will the way Will has done other people. And for some odd reason, I was talking to my sister, man. She was going to come on here the other day, but me and my sister Fast Pitch was having a conversation. And I was like, girl, you got to come on the show. We got to have this conversation. This is man and woman type shit. She was like, all right, let's do it. And she was the only one I could talk to privately. Like, hey, that understood what I was saying because we kind of had something in common in that conversation. And what was crazy about that was this. I think a lot of men who may be with someone who may be wrong for them can't find a way to breaking off. Especially when you've been with them for a long period of time. There's just something. Will said it best the other day. He said in his apology during the Oscars, he said, love make you do crazy things. Love also keep you in places that you have no business being sometimes. You see me put the post up and I said, you can never do anything right when you with the wrong person. You know, you can never be right when the person you with is wrong for you. Never. You'll never do enough. Now, Jada has had not a very, I shouldn't say not a good career because to the average Hollywood star, she's been in a lot. But has she been able to even compete, if you want to use that word? Can she hold a candle to Will Smith's career? And regardless if they love each other or whatever, there still has to be a level of competitiveness in how they look at careers. I mean, I don't ever think she'll get $20 million for a movie. Will probably has, he probably has $500 million worth of scripts sitting in his living room that he can pick and choose from, making $20 million a movie if he really wanted to. Can Jada say that? Probably not. Now, this is not a shot at my queen because y'all know I rock with Jada. But I will say this. Hold on, I'm sorry. I will say this. Jada probably has a sense of jealousy towards her husband. It happens. But I will also take up for her and say this. She has had a lot in her life to deal with. The diseases, raising, the hair disease, raising the children, that's a job within a job, and having a husband that can have anybody that he wants. That's something that can tear your self-esteem down. There's a whole lot involved in being together like that. Those two power people like that. I don't know. Let me take a call because hold on one second. Let me take this call. Good evening, caller. This is Wyatt. Who am I speaking with?
How you doing, Wyatt? St. Rothstein,
a.k.a.
Blammy Davis Jr., a.k.a. Famelo Ball. How you doing, man?
What's up? What's good with you, man? I like that one now. What was that, Ball? Who was that?
Famelo.
Oh, he got another son. His name Famelo on this one now, huh?
Yeah, but I'm more like the dad. I talk real greasy like dad.
Okay.
But no, shout out you and Drop. I heard the call. I appreciate that. I just try to just give folks a different opinion on things.
Okay.
And just like that. You know what I'm saying? Like before somebody comes out and insults me, I mean, it's one thing to disagree, but if you're going to insult me when you disagree, can you at least give me a cup of coffee first?
What's going on?
Sugars.
Yeah, I see something.
Ain't gotta be all that.
I see something. Drop says, Fame, you sick. Too many opinions and not enough baking. But I also see here from my brother, man, that Fame, you gotta, bro. Now we a family over here. And for some odd reason, man, what is it? Are you? There's Mama Deb. What's good, Mama Deb? Talk to them today on the phone. I mean, we a family, man, but it seemed like you that cousin that come to the cookout, and when they see you coming, everybody go the other way. What's up?
They go the other way until their boyfriends start beating their ass. Then they call me. I'm that cousin.
Okay.
I'm the cousin they don't want to acknowledge until shit go left. Then they want to acknowledge me, and because they need me. You understand? That's all. That's all, B.
Well, I think
on these apps, I'm like, damn. Okay, this is Cincinnati, Ohio. I can't imagine somebody being so vicious to the point where I need to hide. So I want to see exactly what they're going to do to me. You know what I'm saying? You know, without getting into anybody's names or nothing like that. But tell you what I called about, B.
Okay, what's up?
That's okay, can I?
Yeah, move on. Go ahead.
I just want to say that I think that Jada Pinkett Smith is a microcosm of a whole generation of lost black women who forgot how to submit and got real aggressive, got into aggression and everything that was ungodly. And they've, basically started the process of eviscerating and emasculating the black man to the point where the generation after them, it's mandatory that their black man is effeminate and submissive to them. Everything ungodly that God does not want. Men submitting to women, things like that. It's supposed to be the other. We're in a parallel universe almost, where the whole thing is just twisted upside down. And now Will and Jada are I don't want to say gatekeepers, but they're basically the, what you can see, of that, a microcosm of it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, kinda. Are you saying, because I want to narrow it down, are you saying that's what's going on with Will and Jada as far as she's being disrespectful to him?
Yes. She doesn't submit to him. She does not. She's not submissive to him at all.
Okay,
and this is the byproduct. He's trying his damnedest to keep this relationship, so he ain't got kids all over the place, things like that, just like you said, he can have any woman he wants. He could be hopping, have a bed in Philly today and then have a bed in L.A. tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. if he wanted.
And maybe he does. Maybe he did.
Okay, maybe he did. But at the same time, like I said, he's trying to keep this thing together, and yet they just keep, she just keeps emasculating him. Like Drop said, everybody saw that video. Will was laughing at it. Will was laughing at the joke. Then he takes a look to his left and sees Jada is not happy with it. So he has to go up there and do that. Get extra tough.
Let me ask you something, Fame.
That was some whole shit.
Let me ask you something real fast. Do you think because we've been living long enough where we've been in relationships, and when you've been in multiple relationships, you deal with different personalities. Some of the women you deal with have been the same, and then there's some that have different personalities. Have you ever been in a relationship where you have done so much wrong that you're willing to go through whatever the fuck you got to go through in order to make it right for her? Have you ever thought about maybe Will is being drug across these coals because he's sitting down, he's drug her through so much and done some things to her that she is just, to satisfy her, he's allowing her to do the things that we call that she's not being submissive for. Like when she do the red table shit and do all these things to embarrass him. Maybe that's what she needs to do to feel better about what they got going on. And he's only accepting it because this is his way of saying, I'm truly sorry. And if this is what I have to deal with to prove to you that I'm sorry, maybe that's why he's going through it. Now, that's me playing devil's advocate because I've done it before. I've been a man that has gone through something with my wife where I have done something that I have had to now face embarrassment in order for me to prove my love and to prove that I didn't really, not like I did something wrong, but now you're making me look bad out in public. But this is what I have to deal with because of what I chose to do at the beginning. You understand what I'm saying? Has
totally
anybody ever thought about that's why Will?
I'm going to abstain because I don't really want to get into somebody's personal life where I'm on the phone like that with them. I just don't want to,
Well, no, the only reason why
the only reason yesterday in a group, somebody got personal about their stuff. I pontificated, then all of a sudden I became the bad guy. So I'm going to abstain on that question. If
okay.
It's okay with you.
Nah, that's perfect, bro. It's just I think people heard me. I think there's some men out there that know what I'm talking about. I think we all have found ourselves in a position where we look like a bitch in front of everybody because our woman made us look that way, some kind of way. Now, I said it yesterday. It's just been too many times that Jada has done that to Will. Matter of fact, I put a post up. I kind of sound like I'm being contradictive, but I'm not. I'm saying that Jada has embarrassed Will in front of the world more than he has embarrassed her that we know of. Okay. So I put a post out there, but what I want people to understand is I never expressed maybe there's a reason why she has been able to do this to him. There has to be a reason why a person that's worth $400 million and can have almost any woman that he wants, no matter what culture she's from, white, black, green, purple, green, blue, from Mars, from Toledo, Ohio, wherever she's from, Miami, he can have almost anything in this planet that he wants, but he chooses to stay with the woman that he loves. So he's willing to deal with.
He doesn't want to leave her.
Why not?
I'm going to tell you why he doesn't want to leave her. Because there's going to be too much of a transfer of wealth.
Well,
and he's not willing to undergo that.
I understand.
Because he's admitted that he was jealous of Tupac from the beginning. This is 92, 93 when he had a show that they was dating. When he had an actual TV show. So we're talking 30 years ago that he's been getting belittled by this woman. I mean, I see your devil's advocate. I see your devil's advocate, and I just countered that. I don't think that was an accurate portrayal of their relationship. I think she was a complete manipulator. Well, just like you said yesterday about Bobby and Whitney, we thought it was Bobby, but we found out it was really Whitney was the ghetto girl. Into drugs and things like that. Got him kidnapped by the preacher crew in New York. Things like that. And that's what's going on with him and with Will Smith and Jada. She's the asshole. She's the asshole, not him. And he's actually doing too much of trying to placate and be nice to her and submit to her when he could just kick her to the curb. That's not in his body.
So you think
he grew up with both parents, so that's what he's used to, stability. Both parents.
Yeah, but he didn't have a great childhood. His dad was an alcoholic, and he was in an abusive. His dad was abusive to his mother. So he was not. He was in a two-parent home, but he was not in a home that was not conducive to a child's growing up to. That's what he said in his book too. He said the reason why he feels like a loser is because he's been in an abusive relationship. I mean, he was abused as a child by his dad, and things of that nature. Just because you have two parents don't mean shit is gonna work out, and it don't mean that the kid is actually saying what they need to be saying. Just because a man is there and a woman is there, that don't mean they're getting what they need to get from a male perspective and a female perspective. So that's. Parents in the home.
That sounds like a publisher and the writer kind of
maybe so
using poetic license to kind of say some things, because I don't know too many people that come from two-parent households and the kids aren't productive.
Oh, I do. I know some personally, bro. I know some person. I know some. I know.
You're a little older than me, so you probably will.
I only got you by 6 months, bro. I only got you by 6 months, so I ain't gonna know too much more than you. But all I'm saying is I do, because I was able to live in an environment early in my life. I came from a point where there was only mothers and grandmothers raising us, boys and girls. It was only mothers and grandmamas. But then as I got a little older, I was blessed to be able to move into an environment where people had mothers and daddies. And some of them same households that had mothers and daddies, some of them kids ended up in the penitentiary. Not all of them turned out to be productive. Now, majority of the kids and the majority of people sitting in the penitentiary, there's no lie about this, Fame. The majority of people that are sitting in the penitentiaries in the United States of America come from one-parent households, and the people that are sitting in there, 65% of the inmates in the United States are illiterate. They can't read and write. Okay, so they do not come from great households. Most of them don't. But there are some people that come from two-parent households that just aren't productive, and they go the other way. I know some personally right here in Cincinnati, and I've talked to them. Some of their kids are dead because they took the streets life. And you will wonder, well, what the hell you doing, bro? You had everything lined up for you. You had a mother and a father that was very productive. They finished school and went on to further education, and you chose to do the life. You tried to be out here in the street life. It happens. It happens.
Well, I'll say this. Every rule is meant to be broken. I mean, some people have 6 fingers and toes. So, rules are going to be broken. Nothing steadfast like that. But at the end of the day, that generation that you're talking about, that was all mothers, they gave way to these women like Jada that manipulate and break men. And they go up, and their whole thing is, I gotta please this woman. I gotta please this woman. I'm telling you, she's manipulating that guy. Totally manipulating him, totally planning, and pulling strings on him, and it's breaking him down, and he can't take it anymore.
Fame, I got a question for you. I got a question for you because I somewhat want to challenge it. I understand where you're coming from in this particular case, okay? But when you said the comment about black women, not being submissive to men. You said that, right? You were saying they're not being submissive.
I did.
They're not being submissive to men and this and this and that. This is not going to shoot off too well for my brothers, but I got to come to my sister's rescue. I want to say this. The only reason why sisters feel like they have to be this way is because deep down in my soul, I'm going to be honest with you, I think that black men have failed black women. I think we have failed them. Brother, I just
say that.
Yes,
man.
I feel that we have failed our culture by not being in the homes. If we're going to continue to have children with these women, with our sisters, with our women, we have to step up, take responsibility, and we just going to have to take care of our responsibilities and be with these women. If you don't want to take care of the children with these women, stop having babies with women. Stop having babies with women you're not going to be with. Because it's a serious problem to not raise your children. And just sending child support checks, that's not raising a child. Child support checks don't teach you how to tie a tie. It don't teach you how to go to a job interview. And it don't teach you the principles of being a man. Child support checks don't do that. And you know what happens is you get these sisters out here that want better lives, and they get in their mind that if they not gonna find the right man, and if the men just gonna come around for pleasure principles, if that's all we gonna do, then we don't need them type of men. If we gonna set that precedent, how can I be mad at a sister because they don't want to be bothered with us?
Well, that precedent already been set. I mean, look at Washington. You have a Supreme Court justice, a black woman, who's married to a white man. The Vice President of the United States is married to a white man. So, that precedent has already been set. That's already been in the black woman's mind. They don't need us because of that previous generation.
Well, we don't.
I know more black women with. As simple as this. I know more black women with a hyphenated last name than I do that are all married. They're all married, and more of them have hyphenated last names than they don't. And I find that to be disgusting.
Okay. Well, I understand. Now, these hyphenated names, are you saying from black men or from white men?
It don't matter. It's just a black woman.
Just the fact that they don't want to lose their name.
Dr. Smith Jenkins.
I got you. I understand. Well, maybe that does have a sense of power. I don't know. Maybe if from your observation, maybe there's a sense of power, or maybe there's a sense of she was raised in a family where her dad was a powerful figure in her life, a superhero, and maybe there's a sense of I don't want to kill my family's name. I don't know. I don't know why they would do that, but I would like to address something that you said because I've been thinking about this for a while. You bringing up some things, some thoughts, and some stuff that's been in my mind. And you say like the vice president is married to a white man, and the Supreme Court justice, the nominee, is married to a white man. That has been something that's been floating in my mind, and it is something that I've brought to some people's attention. And I do have somewhat. This is going to sound a little bad, but I'm just gonna be honest with you. I do have somewhat not a problem with it, but I am finding a little conscious with it. I am finding it to be. I don't want to choose my words wrong, but I do find it to be a little alarming.
It's alarming, and not only. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
It's alarming, and this sister, dark as hell, with braids, but married a white man, fronting like that. She'll be black when it's convenient, but when it's time to do some real judiciary work for black folks, she'll shit on us like she did the one famous case. I can't think of it right now. It was a class action case of some employees. You see what I'm saying?
I understand.
But I gotta hop off here. I can listen. I just can't talk to you more because
okay, bro.
I just can't talk to you more. But I can still listen though. But it's been a pleasure. It always is, bro.
All right, brother.
We'll talk again soon.
Appreciate you. All right, Fame.
Later.
That was Fame. He almost made me go there with one. This is an endear subject in my mind and in my head because I was raised by a 14-year-old mother myself, and my daddy did absolutely fucking nothing for me. All right. He did absolutely nothing for me. So it took a woman to have me at 14, 15 years old to finish high school and to raise a child. And once she raised this child, being me, she found a career and she dated. And these are men that I can remember. Single black woman, and she's not bringing everybody around me, but she's being selective of who she's choosing to bring around her son, being myself. And I'm watching all these different type of characters, and she's not finding anybody that wants to be family oriented because it's pleasure principle time. My mother was a very attractive woman. And what I don't understand is how we could sit back and say that black women are leaving us alone and blah, 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 when in fact, we're having children with these women and don't want to have anything to do with the women. And then you neglect the child. All I'm saying to you is, can we do a better job? I don't want to be judgmental with anybody, but can we do a better job with who we have our children with? And I'm talking about a better selective of a woman, and women, can we be a little better selective of choosing the man that we're going to have a child with? Because you can't do it yourself. I didn't already say it. Women can't raise men. Okay. My mother tried. She did as much of a good job. She did the best job she can. But my mother never taught me how to tie a tie. She never taught me how to be a husband. She never taught me how to do any of that shit. So when I got older, I had to figure this shit out on my own. And it's almost like starting a 100-yard race 20 yards behind the starting point. Okay, so if there's no one here teaching you how to be the best husband or the best man, you already you already behind. And I just need to get that off my chest because I don't think it's fair when I see strong women now being accused of belittling us because they had to step in and be charged and run the household because there's no men in here trying to do that shit these days. I'm trying to figure out why we got a problem with that. Maybe we need to step our game up. Let me take a phone call. I could be totally wrong. That's just my opinion. Hey, good evening, caller. This is Wyatt. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, Wyatt. It's so good to hear you. I love when you talk about your mother and how you honor her and her efforts and how you seen how, as a 14-year-old child, she was taken advantage of. That's a child. But even in the midst of that, she still was able to pull her circumstance together and raise you the best of her ability. And look at you now. I think that's probably the motivating factor for you, like, how we kind of assume others. I think maybe that's the motivating factor for you to be the best man that you can be, because perhaps there were not men who were trying to show you that. And now you are a good example for young men who may have grown up or who are growing up without that example. You understand what I mean?
I understand. I appreciate that. It's tough because, here's the thing. If I was some dude that was raised up in the suburbs and I had a mother and a father and I'm trying to tell y'all all this math, if I'm trying to get you to figure out this math problem, and you would think, well, who is he? Who is he to try to tell us about all this shit? He didn't had all this shit his whole life. He didn't had a mother and a father his whole life, and they gave him the fruits of life and all that. But I'm not that. I'm 1335 John Street raised, grandmamas and window ladies in the window sill raising us and whooping our asses 3 or 4 times when we got home, and then give us to our mamas, and then we get another ass whooping. I'm from that. So I feel qualified to have these type of conversations of what we may be missing. I just feel like I am.
Excuse me. I've been listening to the guys. Listening to others besides yourself, and I feel like black men feel that they have to check Will Smith's manhood because Jada Pinkett was revealed to have a young lover, but Jada and Will did not initially come out in the public with that relationship. August Alsina was promoting an album, and he came out with that information. And because they were in the public eye and she had the platform, they came out with the Red Table Talks and they discussed it. But Will Smith also had other lovers, but they decided within their marriage this was okay. And we're not going to divorce. We're still a family. We still love each other, etc. But I feel, listening to that last caller, he scares me. Every 6 hours, this is Marquetta, by the way.
Hey, Marquetta, I know, babe. Go ahead.
Every 6 hours in this country, a black woman is murdered by her domestic partner. This is facts. You can look up the hashtag every 6 hours.
Marquetta, hold on one second. I got one for you that'll validate that. I do know that. And every 8 seconds, a woman in this country is violated by domestic violence. Every 8 seconds.
So we have to look at the mind state that makes you think that women in general are supposed to submit to you. It's a case, this one guy in Chicago a couple of years back, he wanted his breakfast done and he wanted his hair braided. And it wasn't done fast enough, and so he wound up killing his baby mama, and her sister. It's cases where men have killed women because they won't submit. If you're an attractive woman and you go outside and somebody say, "Hey, what's up?" And you don't turn around, you ain't all that anyway, bitch. And you get the most verbal abuse. There's something wrong. That's called toxic masculinity, where you place your masculinity is based on your oppression of women. And I'm reading through the comments, brother said, women 40 to 50 years old, they didn't destroy black men. This whole narrative is a propaganda that makes it okay. I'm not saying that Will Smith was right for punching Chris Rock, but it makes it okay to constantly pick and belittle and degrade and dehumanize black women. Because who's going to save you? Who's going to protect you if the man who looked like you is the one doing it?
Right. No, I understand. Now, let me say this. Let me piggyback on that same point, sis, that you just said. See, there are a frame of mind. There's some people with a frame of mind out there right now that think what Will Smith did was very stand-up-ish. I've heard even Tiffany Haddish come up and say, "Thank God we finally got a black man who will stand up for his black woman." I'm not saying that what Will Smith did was not standing up for his wife or his queen or his black woman. I'm saying that the way he handled it was wrong. I'm saying that he could have still stood up and did a whole lot of the shit that he did. He just could have did it in a different location. It's no different when the mob do what they do, right? When the mob do what they do, they don't, when you steal from them, they not trying to get you right on the spot. They catch you off guard and they get you when they want to get you, and they get you in a proper spot where it don't hurt them. You understand what I'm saying? Will Smith hurt himself last night, and that's what a lot of people who don't think methodically do. I'm gonna be honest with you and tell you, there are people in this world that if you having an argument with somebody and they driving down the street and you in the passenger side and y'all totally disagree, with anything and y'all just having a heated conversation, this mug will probably drive off. There's people that'll drive off the road to kill your ass in the passenger seat because they don't like what you're saying. They'll kill themselves trying to kill you. And now that's what people do that don't think about shit. They'll hurt themselves trying to hurt you. And I quite frankly think that's what Will Smith did yesterday. I think he put himself in a position where he had nothing to gain. He had nothing to gain by doing it that way.
Saying that. I hear everybody saying that. And I can't speak to what's right or wrong for Will Smith in the heat of the moment. The man did what for him.
That man was laughing, today, Marquetta.
Today he has buyer's remorse. You know why? You know why? He could have just been smiling and laughing at the last joke. I don't want to get too much into that.
No, let me just say this to
you.
Let me say this one thing, sis, about that. I know we ain't gonna get long into it. I just want you to, because you're very intelligent, okay? And I want you to look at how that brother was acting after the situation that night. I seen an actor that night. I seen an actor go up to the stage and slap a man. I didn't see a man go up there and handle his business. I seen an actor go up there and take a shot at an easy target because Will was having too much fun. He was 3 different characters that night. He played the bad boy and went up and smacked somebody. Then he went up there and did a long speech and cried like he did on a script. And then he went to an after party and danced like he was Will Fresh Prince from Bel-Air. I seen too many different people out of him last night. And then I seen a publicist written apology. That was not Will Smith. So I'm just going to say that I seen some fried
Will
shit.
Smith is human. We all fall down. We get up. We all just fall short of the glory of God.
Yeah, well, don't get confused.
Make a mistake, that look bad on us. I would say, for me, Will Smith has influenced my culture for the last 30 years in a positive way. That's the first time I've ever seen him do something in the extreme.
I agree.
Will Smith has been the anti-negative black male portrayal in media. He has never cursed in his records and still made #1 hits. From DJ Jazzy, just, went to Getting Jiggy with It. He's made movies and promoted a positive masculine male image by himself without having a white spouse in those movies. We've seen Will Smith create a sitcom that is legendary off the innocence and the love of an affluent black family. So I'm not going to throw Will Smith and his legacy out and that's just me. I'm not, because he made this one mistake. I don't have $300 million. I don't know what the weight of celebrity is to him. And for me and my family, we don't watch the Oscars. Those are devil worshipers. We see them throwing up, those 2 fingers and hell and Satan. So to me, everybody in the audience, they can, all of them, they can take, I don't care. I'm not interested in what and if you notice, this is more important than anything else going on in the world. This is a smack.
And it's a shame.
Around the world.
It's a shame because let me say this to you, sis. As we talk about families, Will was only there because he was receiving an Oscar he was nominated for an Oscar for my favorite movie. Now, what are we saying about this movie today? Nobody's even talking about what movie he won the Oscar for. And Mr. Williams came out and said he don't condone violence. This is the same man that got you in that building, that whole script and that whole story. That movie that I loved it. I pumped that movie to the Wyatt-Live audience till the day that it came out. I said, we got to see this. This is all about having a black father in the home. Now, it's been tarnished. It's been tarnished because guess what? The night that you get your only Oscar in your life, you done made $20 million of film. And your lowest budget movie that you've ever made in your life was the most important one. It's the only one that really even had, I shouldn't say the only one that had meaning, but it's the only one that had as much meaning to the black culture. He's done a lot of movies. How many of the movies has he ever made 20 million and it was directed directly to us in our culture? Not none. Okay. And the one that
let me say this because prior we were talking about absent black fathers. And I pride myself, I don't care what nobody thinks, I pride myself on coming from community-based parenting. I got godparents, I had good neighbors, my mom, whether you know it or not, my mom been on drugs most of my life. But it didn't matter because I had that old lady in the window, I had my girlfriend's mama.
Right.
I had my godfather who was a hunter. I had my godmother who did this, that, and her. There was a community that was protecting me as a child and helping me to grow up. What I saw when the brother talked about Ketanji Jackson being married to a white man, Clarence Thomas married to a white woman. She was saying don't concede the election.
Yeah, but you know what, sis? Let's be honest.
All of the black male celebrities that we have seen for the last 40 or 50 years, that as soon as they get a little bit of wealth, look at Kobe Bryant. His wife is Latina, and no shade to her, but the black wealth transfer that he took from his family's legacy. His family, his father taught him how to play basketball. His mom and father took him to Italy and raised him and trained him. And when he got back home, he married a Latina woman and disowned them. And now her and her children and her Latino family get the bulk of his wealth from his black talent.
Oh, trust me, sis.
So we can't dismiss Ketanji Brown and say that she's not going to be a good Supreme Court justice because she got a white husband. One of the points that they were actually making during her confirmation hearings was that she was not sentencing according to the maximum penalty due to race. They were saying that she was allowing people, like we always talk about that bond and those low sentences, and she was allowing repeat offenders with low sentences back into the community to reoffend the people who look like them back into the community because they were black. But we're ready to jump on her because she chose. Was she supposed to stay single? Because black men only marry at a 29% rate. When you hear today, black men, I think it was maybe a couple of weeks back, you were saying black men don't want to marry an accomplished woman. Not all of them, but the smoke that's coming out of the blogospheres, the podcast, the smoke is we don't want an intelligent, accomplished woman because it demeans our manhood some way. So
that might have been
educated women. Who are they supposed to marry?
I never had that feeling, and I don't think I've ever pumped that black men don't want an accomplished woman. I don't think I've ever said anything like that because I think that most men that do marry, they marry women that are on the path of accomplishment.
Somebody that's a solid partner that's equally yoked, that can help you build your wealth, that can help you maintain your household and help develop your children to their best. You don't want some chick this stupid. I hope not.
Right. I agree with you. I do. But I'm trying to figure it. I'm thrown off a little bit. I'm trying to figure out where are these? Are you saying on this platform that we've made reference to black men don't want?
No, you was talking about a show. It was a show some other brother had did, and he went viral for that statement.
That was. I think that was another show, and it was a brother who was on there talking about women are losers, or black women are losers because they pick career over family, and they're not getting married to black men. They're not getting married. I seen that on another podcast, but I see what you're saying, and I think I may have made a reference or said something about that.
You talked about it a little bit, but I'm just saying in general, what I'm hearing from black men with this whole Jada Pinkett, Will Smith, Chris Rock fiasco is that it's Jada's fault. She has emasculated him. He's weak mentally. He's not a man. He's never stood up to August Alsina like he stood up to Chris Rock. And I'm calling today because did you listen to the 2016 Oscar intro when they said the Oscars was too white and so most people of color didn't go to the Oscars? They boycotted it. Are you familiar with what he said?
Yeah, I heard it. I mean, I've seen clips at this point.
Conan and Junan, he said that the ancestors or people before them could not boycott the Oscars because they was being raped and hung, and had the audience of white people laughing and jeering, ha ha ha. That ain't funny.
Right.
That's not funny. And then we talk about Serena Williams' dad. And I applaud him for, like I say, in that era, in the 90s, we had Tiger Woods' father. I would love to see a biopic on him. Military man, father, married an Asian woman, made a son, made him a golf pro. Every day he trained that boy. Here you got Mr. Williams. But the story is good, but Mr. Williams was an absentee father for 7 other children. They say he had maybe 19 kids. But he took the time with them in particular, and look at what he was able to do. And I always say, you can't hold a man accountable when he make a mistake if he's trying to correct himself. So he corrected himself, and he did good by Serena and Venus. But it's other children whose lives did not turn out very well. So Will Smith cleaned up his image in that movie.
Well, I don't.
A positive portrayal of him as a father who was dedicated to their mother and their development, while not telling the rest of that story.
I think the story was based on Serena and Venus. See, I don't think it was all based on the life of King Richard or Richard Williams. I think they were trying to start the world of Venus and Serena in that household. I think the most powerful scene, one of the most powerful scenes of that movie, quite frankly, is when the mother and father, when Mr. and Mrs. Richard were in the kitchen. And I think I brought this up when I seen the movie. I made it clear that this was the most powerful scene of the movie. And that was when she told him, and I wasn't aware of it, but she told him in the movie, you had all these other kids and I didn't say anything. Just roll it back. I can't remember verbatim what was said, but it was a powerful scene. And it let me know, yes, he's had other situations. Now, this is not him having families on her. He had a family before he met her. And when a man has a family before his next wife, that family don't just go away. I mean, they're still gonna be around somewhere. Now, he committed to what he was supposed to do as a father with Venus and Serena Williams. What he committed to do with the other kids, I can't tell you because it wasn't part of the movie, because that was not part of Venus and Serena's story. What was part of Venus and Serena, this was not the King Richard. I told everybody that this movie was titled wrong. This movie was titled wrong. It shouldn't be King Richard, because you're right, Marquetta. When you say King Richard, you have to express what King Richard has always been through. Not Venus and Serena. This was a Venus and Serena story, but it was named after King Richard. And I think that was
they would not be Venus and Serena without their father. We can't, I'm not taking away from the man or the movie. I'm just saying the context is.
Yeah, but you
took these two particular daughters, and because he parented them, because he was present, because he was dedicated to teaching them a skill, that they became black excellent and became historic tennis figures. And because of that, their story is marketable and profitable and worthy to be told. But his image overall, even after they became famous, he left their mama. He got with another, younger woman.
But here's the thing. I want to just say, I hear you, and I don't mean this disrespectful, but I think any good dad, I would think that I'm a good father. You could probably go get something messy and totally tear up any legacy that I build as well, because none of us are perfect. Now, if you want to use something that Richard did, Mr. Williams did before he started this family, the Williams family and the tennis stars and all that, because there was no given that they were going to be stars. It took him a certain type of work, and the way he participated with his family, watching TV with them, watching movies and using those movies to make points. That don't strike me as a deadbeat dad. It sounds to me like he may have had some issues with maybe the mother, and that shit just didn't work out, so he moved on. Now, let me just say this before I say I can't clean up his situation because I don't know the situation, but I will say this. Mr. Richard had a son that ended up playing basketball at the University of Cincinnati as a point guard. There, he lived in Cleveland. I think they said he was from California, and I think he ended up moving to Cleveland and all that. But he ended up being a star player in Cincinnati. I cannot think of that kid's name. His last name was Williams, but I can't think of his first name. But he was a great kid. He used to go down to the but he would go down to Central Parkway Y, play ball with us. He was a good kid, and he looks just like his dad. He looked just like Mr. Williams. And that kid could have been in the NBA. But it's so much more competitive, at that level, he could have had another kid playing professional sports. It just didn't work out. And maybe he did some things that we don't know about with that kid. Maybe he went out and worked on jump shots with that guy. Maybe he went out and helped him with his defense. Maybe he helped him with his weight training. Maybe he did some things with that guy that nobody knows anything about. He could have trained him just like he was training Venus and Serena. I'm just looking at how they posed him in that movie as being not the best father in the world, but he was an engaged father. He was a father that took care of his children, and that strikes me a little. I can't believe that he just didn't have nothing to do with the other kids based on how cool he was and how he chose education and sports for his other kids. Because keep in mind, there was 3 other daughters that weren't involved in tennis, but they were very smart and book oriented and leading the class with grades. It was more than just sports for that man. He did a lot for that family as far as putting education first and saying they're not going to be out in the streets. They're not going to be knocking up with no knucklehead dudes, and I will die for them. That don't strike me as a deadbeat dad on other kids. There might have been other issues involved.
I'm with you on that. The same grace should be extended to Will Smith. I'm hearing his children androgynous, his wife a hoe, he ain't a man. And here we have this brother, the brand new funk, what was that, Nightmare on Elm Street, Summertime. He has lightened up our moods and our lives, while media was at the time when media was portraying and paying black men to betray their communities with violence, guns, and drugs. Will Smith is a hero to me. I don't like to hear people dog him and use his wife as an excuse because he was mature enough to say, my wife is allowed to love her and I'm not going to leave her. Because he was man enough to stick by her side even after the entanglement conversation and not run away from the conversation.
Well,
and here you have, in the heat of the moment, someone who is known to belittle, tell white people it's okay to call us the N-word. He get it. Tell black people it's a war between the N-word and the black man. To sit up and then cheat on his wife, who was an accomplished doctor, who made a movie mocking black women's hair and telling us, tumbleweaves and why we got to wear the wig. It's laws against black women's hair. The Supreme Court had to come out and say it's okay for you to wear your locks. It's okay for you to wear your braids. The government had to step in and say it's okay for your hair to be black and natural. So there's politics behind black hair that he didn't get into. He did that black hair documentary as a smack in the face. He even talked about Venus and Serena, how ugly they was, how they had beads in their hair in his heyday. Chris Rock is the problem, and black men who are protecting Chris Rock. I say this all the time. Until we have the divine masculine stand up and protect women and children, you're going to continue to have these men who prey on women and children in our community. And that's, like I said, Ketanji Brown. She is the most qualified. She more qualified than everybody that's ever. Most of the people on the Supreme Court that serve on the Supreme Court, they've never even been vetted. But they hitting her with questions. They hit, they hitting her with questions that don't even make no sense. She got experience. She got the clientele. But what he said that made me call in was the 2003 Lockheed Martin case, where she decided with Lockheed Martin that they wouldn't be able to file a race-based class action lawsuit against Lockheed Martin, as if she's going to be anti-black because of that. She had her own reasons. I'm not sure the law that she was quoting, but in 2003, you had a white man go into Lockheed Martin who had been a proud white supremacist, had been harassing black people for a year, decided that day, I'm going to kill everybody. Went in, shot 13 people, killed 5. They went back and they said, we need to sue Lockheed Martin because Lockheed Martin knew that this man was targeting people on race prior to the incident, and they didn't do anything to protect their black workers. That was the plaintiff's case. And so for their class action lawsuit of $23 million to go through, they had to file something to get their race class action approved. She was the appeal judge, and she said, I agree with Lockheed Martin. This is not race-based. Okay? But that doesn't mean she's going to have anti-black, mentality. She's going to operate within the rule of the law, in my opinion. And again, I would just say, I thank you for your show and you sharing your experience. And again, your mom was 14 years old. That is a child. Someone took advantage of a child.
Another child.
She had a child.
Another child.
That child grew up into a man to be something that other men in our... Did you see the video I tagged you in?
Which one was that?
The fight down.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't.
You see the community.
Yeah, and that's a problem. I'm gonna let people know what you did. She tagged me in a video of a nightclub having what they call Royal Rumbles, and it's hood shit. And basically what it is the community, when you get involved in things like that, anything can break out. So there was a fight in the ring, and then it boiled into the corners jumping in, and then the crowd start fighting. That happens at shit like that. There's no commission. It's not a structural situation. And we tend to...
Say the word again.
It's not a structural. It's not a structural situation, and that's what we tend to indulge in, a lot of unstructural functions and unstructural things. And some people allow it to happen. And when things like that happen, when those meltdowns happen, then it goes into the entire community as a black eye on all of us. But
and so and I ain't kissing your ass. I'm just talking to you.
No, I understand, sis.
Without someone with skill, expertise, management, marketing, who understands how to vet professional boxers, who knows how to put on an event. See, we wouldn't, without a man or a woman who went through whatever they went to know that that's not the way to go. I'm going to go this way. And now we got a different representation. This is the proper way to do it. If you would not have been through what you went through, you wouldn't be the example that you are to others. And that's all I was calling to say. I don't want to. I know I get on your nerves.
No, you don't get on my nerve, Queen. You don't get. We get a little winded, both of us. We do, but that's what's good about structural speaking. You can put a brick onto whatever I'm trying to build, and I hope to put a brick onto whatever you're trying to build. And if we add enough bricks, imagine what we could build.
This guy Fame, why is he crazy like this?
Fame has his own way of doing things, and he feels the way he feels.
Dangerous propaganda against black women is part of the reason why no one is outraged about that little girl right around the corner, 17 years old, Sunday, murdered, shot in her chest, 17-year-old single mom, murdered by her 20-year-old domestic partner.
Let me say something on that.
No outrage, no community stand up, no Black Lives Matter marches, no call for this or that, because black women are expendable. You can be offended, you can't be defended.
But you got to understand something, sis. As much as you are correct in that, black men are too. See, we are so, I'm going to be honest with you and tell you that, black women feel a certain way about, like what you just said. They feel a certain way about being distinct. Like y'all are fading away because black men aren't there or whatever, whatever the reasons that several people may have. But look at what black men are going through right now as well. We're being excluded in this world. We're being excluded. And what I mean by that is when you look at TV shows today, you don't see strong black fathers. That's why bullshit like what, and I hate to say this because I know you somewhat agree with what Will Smith did. I agree with what he did. I just think it should have been done a different kind of way. I think we will agree that what he did could have been handled differently. Okay. But I think that when people, when we cheer what Will Smith did, that is replacing what real men is supposed to do in the minds of people, because we have been manipulated to believe that strong black men just don't exist anymore. We don't have black men in the household and the families and blah, blah, blah. Thank God he went up there and defended his queen. Well, that's bullshit. He could have kicked Chris Rock ass in the back in the janitorial room, and that would have been just as much manly. But when it's how you handle yourself and how you do things is what needs to be. It needs to be handled right.
With that. But like I tell others, you know, the LGBTQI community, LGBTQIA plus community, because I want to be respectful. Ain't nobody gonna test them. They got a whole. You say so. Kevin Hart ain't. He ain't about to present shit. Kevin Hart. Anybody say something about gay people? They got a whole advocacy group. They gonna ride on you. You're gonna lose sponsors. You're gonna lose jobs. You're gonna be blacklisted. There is no advocacy group. The NAACP is not an advocacy group for black women. Black Lives Matter is not an advocacy group for black women. So in that moment, at that time, because you did, it's a lot of brothers quietly that need to get smacked up because publicly you did it. Publicly in that moment, you are degrading and humiliating our mothers, our sisters, our aunts, our daughters, all for giggles, all for entertainment.
So now,
and in that we lose our humanity. And that's okay for you because you a comedian or an actor.
So now let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, sis. There's levels of disrespect, okay, out there. There's levels of disrespect, and I don't see any different. Now, this is going to be a little far-fetched for some, but it's on the same principle. It's on the same principle of don't disrespect me. What's the difference between what Will Smith did to Chris Rock, going up there putting his hands on him, than one of these kids getting in an argument outside of Walmart and one of them shooting the other one? It was all form of disrespect. Don't disrespect me. And when we convert to that type of behavior, this is what happens. But on the streets, it gets to a deadly situation because now we have this don't disrespect me because you said something wrong. Don't even look at me, nigga, the wrong way. I will kill you. And Will Smith set the example of, yes, I'll defend my queen by any cost necessary. But isn't there a certain way that you're supposed to handle problems? And if you're going to, I'm not, see, this is a double-edged sword for me. It sounds like I'm against Will Smith for defending Jada, my queen who stays on the wall right here with me. Okay, someone that I understand. I love the fact that they have a family structure of a black family structure, but I can't dismiss bad behavior. And sitting here setting an example of I'm gonna put hands on you in front of everybody because of what you said sets a bad example. And let me tell you why it sets a bad example. Because his punk ass little son, and I say punk ass because he ain't never laid hands on nobody, he go on social media and he says, this is how we do it. You ain't done shit, little Negro. You ain't put your hands on nobody. You soft as a soft batch cookie, and you ain't gonna touch nobody. So why would you? That's what Will Smith set the precedent on. He ain't gonna stop no male domestic violence in this country. What he did proved it had no substance of stopping anything in this country about what's going on with black women. Every 8 seconds, a woman in this country faces domestic violence. Every 8 hours, a black woman is killed in this. What is it? Every 7.25 seconds, a black woman is killed in this country during domestic violence. So what Will Smith do make it better in those situations? Who did he truly defend?
I agree. But I also have to say the difference is the propaganda.
What?
Propaganda precedes genocide. Propaganda precedes genocide. The propaganda that is coming out of our own community is that black male or black female, black child, black elder, black anybody, you can get killed. You can get killed by the police. You can get killed. A 14-year-old girl just shot her cousin.
Yeah, but who?
12. If she shot the 14-year-old, she killed herself. Nobody cares. Like you just said, there's no impact. But that smack was heard around the world. That night, at that time, right then, that in the heat of that moment, people in Japan, people in Australia, people in Europe, they saw a black man check another black man. You're not going to keep doing this.
Okay. All right. I got one.
At this moment, at this time, I don't care. I'm not killing you. I'm going to disrespect you with an open hand pip smack. I'm going to smack you like a... And what can you do?
Okay,
because
sis.
Chris Rock could never reach the heights that Will Smith is on. Will Smith was begged to come to the Oscars. Chris Rock begs to host the Oscars. So even though I agree with you what you're saying, because all violence, like the brothers came back and apologized, all violence is bad, et cetera, et cetera. But in that moment, at that time, Tiffany Haddish, as a black woman, she felt vindicated. Finally, somebody has stood up for someone who looks like me. Finally, I'm worthy enough to stop the white people's clapping and applauding and their, satanic, event. And all of a sudden, I am worthy of national attention because someone stood up and defended a woman who looked like me. And I don't know how it's Jada's fault because Jada didn't say nothing. She just sat there with her feelings hurt, with a grimace on her face. And now everybody's saying Jada done pushed Will to the brinks and made him do that. Will decided to do that. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but in that moment in time, we had our own Black Lives Matter moment. Black Lives Matter don't stand up for black women.
All right, I got something for you. I got something for you.
But you have a good night. I'm going to continue to listen. Thank you for your voice and your story.
Thank you, babe. I appreciate you. All right. Well, I got to say something. And I don't know how this is going to float amongst my people. But she said something about propaganda. Ugh. That's a word that's freely used whenever somebody is either being accused of something, or there's something that's being talked about too much, or it's something that's being used to disguise a real problem, and they say that you're using propaganda so the real issues won't be spoken about, or something of that nature. And you said, sis, that you don't understand why we don't pay attention. Like this slap of Will Smith on Chris Rock is being seen in all these other places, but we're not talking about it. It's not being, like, the 17-year-old girl is not being talked about. Basically, you're saying the 17-year-old girl who got shot in the chest is not being talked about, but the slap is being talked about all the way from Cincinnati to China. You're absolutely right. But whose fault is that? Whose fault is it of what you pay attention to? Not you, Marquetta, per se, but us as a group. Us as a group of individuals, we pick and choose what we pay attention to, right? So let me give you a perfect example of something that I've been talking about right here on the show. I said 26-year-old male black is shot in the head on his birthday in Bond Hill. That same evening, a police officer shoots a black man at nighttime in Columbus, Ohio, 125 miles away from here. And y'all have a vigil for the man that was shot by the police officer up in Columbus in Washington Park here in Cincinnati. That's not anybody's fault but those that want to pay attention to. You pick and choose what you support. The people who want to have the vigil for the man that got shot up in Columbus, the only reason why you're having this vigil is because you're moving a movement. The fact that a 26-year-old got shot in the head in your own city and you did no visual for him in Washington Park, that was the people's choice of what they want to pay attention to. That's what they wanted to pay attention to. I had a problem with that. Why are we doing a visual for a black man that got shot at nighttime? It don't matter how he got shot. He got shot. And the point of it is he got shot by a police officer, and that was sexier. That was more strength. It was more about the cause. Fuck, I know we shooting each other in the hood and all that, but that shit's gonna happen. But a police officer shooting us, that ain't supposed to happen. See, that is people falling for propaganda. That's people. You should have a problem with people having Black Lives Matter signs sitting in the park of your hometown, and then that same day, a brother gets shot in the head in broad daylight on his birthday in the barber chair, and it goes untalked about, untouched, but you would rather protest what happened all the way up in Columbus, Ohio, 125 miles away from you on the same day. The next day, you have a visual for some shit that happened up the street 125 miles away, but you don't have a visual or a talk to, or you don't call any police officers or police chiefs or city council. You hold no one in the community responsible for what's happening in the community, but you want to hold a police officer responsible for some shit that didn't even happen in your community 125 miles away. See, when you start talking about propaganda, we pay attention to what we want to pay attention to. You understand? You choose to make the Chris Rock thing more interesting than what's really going on. This is why I'm the lowest rating guy, because I don't put this shit first on my list. Every time something disturbing happens in my community in the city of Cincinnati, I'm the only one that talk about the shit. But guess what the ratings do? If I ain't talking about juicy ass, booty ass Kim, then ain't nobody watching. But when I start calling people accountable, like, why ain't the police chief saying where the parents at? Why is it we got 1,000 kids missing in the public school, and 70% of the kids in public school are African American? And when I start holding people accountable for hiring a failed teaching system, a new head of administration, a superintendent coming from failed school systems and shit, when I talk like that, nobody's engaged and nobody wants to hear the shit. Y'all only want to hear the juicy shit that everybody's talking about. That's it. So then I end up with nobody here, and that's fine. I'll talk to the 4 people I started with. But what I'm saying to you is, when we start talking about that shit about it's somebody else's fault that we are absorbing all the propaganda, it's not. It's the people who choose to listen to the propaganda. It's those folks. I got to take a call. Maybe somebody will set me straight. I don't know. Good evening, caller. This is Wyatt. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, what's up, Dr. Miss Shane? How you doing?
Shane, what's going on, my brother? How you doing, man?
Oh, man, just hanging and maintaining. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm holding on, brother. I'm trying, man. It's tough these days. I took a whole week off. Can I finish this up real fast, Shane? Because I know you got something that's going to be powerful. I took an entire week off last week because of all the shit that's been going on with the Supreme Court hearings, all the shootings in the Cincinnati area, all the shootings. I ain't got to go to Texas. I don't have to go to Oklahoma. I get enough action that I can talk about right here in my own backyard of shootings, and they go unheard of. Nobody wants to talk about the shit. You would rather find a more interesting story all the way in Oklahoma somewhere that some cop did to somebody than to talk about what's going on with your own 17-year-old girls in your own neighborhood. You'd rather talk about that than talk about these judges that are allowing guys that are beating the shit out of our black women back out on the street within 24 hours, cutting ankle bracelets off and saying, well, let's give him another chance. Nobody's holding these judges accountable for allowing these guys to recycle through your community. They're not leaving Avondale, getting in trouble, going to the Justice Center for some weeks, getting in trouble, and then a judge letting them out, and now they in Mason. They go right back to the same situation in the same neighborhood that they terrorized. And it's a recycle program, and y'all don't even step up. You so busy trying to defend the guy that's doing the bad shit, talking about that system is so fucked up. That system is so bad. When are we gonna start looking at the guys or the people who are making these systems incorporate themselves and be powerful? They are the cattle of that problem. And you look at these judges that are allowing these guys out. I challenge anybody in the city of Cincinnati to tell me what I'm saying is wrong. If you ain't down in them courthouses like I am, don't bring that shit over here. Don't bring it. You just talking about something somebody with misinformation taught you. I watch it every day. I know who's being released from jail. I know who's being released.
I'm having trouble hearing you.
Sorry, that's my watch. I know what's going on. And where are those people that they letting come out? What about the 18-year-old kid last year? The 18-year-old kid last year from Fairmount. He caught a gun charge. And he got out of jail on an OR bond from sitting there 2 days. Nobody would come get him, so they let him out of jail. When he went back to the Fairmount area, what did he do? He caught a gun charge. He go right back out with a current charge, and he goes and gets another gun. And when he got into the same community, and when he got this gun this time, guess what? Them same dudes he was beefing with finally caught up with his ass, and they get into a shootout. 4 people get shot. An 18-year-old gets shot, a 19-year-old, a 6-year-old, and an 8-year-old. Have any of y'all checked on them 6-year-olds and them 8-year-olds? Have any of you? Because the 8-year-old is never going to be the same. That guy had no goddamn business being out on the street. Why are you talking about all that other shit when these are the problems that's going on in your own city? Y'all just nominated and you voted in a whole new council. Let's give them time. I get it. I get it. But don't tell me what you gonna do. How you gonna hire a firefighter, send him training, and then say, well, I know this your first fire, so we ain't gonna let you do what firefighters do. Bro, when you hire a firefighter, his ass better go in there and fire. He better go fight the fire. That's what you hired him for. Or don't come to the fucking academy, or don't apply for the job if you think day one you ain't gonna have to do the job. I don't want to hear about what you gonna do. Oh, I'm gonna stump fires out. I'm gonna use my own goddamn boots. Soon as we run out of water, I got my own boots. I stump it all out. And then when you get on the job, well, I didn't know that the fire was so hot. Shit, this is real hot fire. I can't use my boots for this shit. I might burn. Give me some time to learn how to work the fire hoses now. No. I've been jumped in a job. I've jumped in a job before where how many of us have been put in a position where when you jump yourself, as soon as you get on the job, they drop your ass right on a hot plate, right on the hot skillet, and you have to produce. You might not even have got proper training. Most people on their job don't get proper training. They don't. And if they don't produce after getting non-proper training, they get fired. I'm sorry. I got on my little rush. I got a call. Let me see if the caller is still here. I'm sorry. Shane, are you still here, brother?
Oh, yes, sir. How about yourself, man? How you doing?
Another day in paradise, brother. What's happening, man?
No, not much, man. I know, with this being your show, I just want to ask you a question.
Absolutely.
All right, let me start off with asking a question. From this entire situation with Will Smith and Chris Rock, what do you think has been the impact of this on the black community? It's a parallel type question I'm gonna ask.
I got it.
What do you think the impact has been on the black community?
What impact? Okay, I think what you said is this. Let me make sure, because I don't know if people actually heard it. Let me try to say the question that you asked. You're asking me what impact do I think what happened with Will Smith and Chris Rock had on the black community?
What level of impact?
And see, Dr. Satterfield, let me say this to you, bro. I'm gonna say this in a way that some may get it and some may not. Okay, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to anybody. I just have to answer this the way that I know how, and I'm not a man that's afraid to say what he has to say. I think I think it all depends. The impact that incident had on the black community all depends on the mentality of the black person that you referring to. I think some black people understood exactly what was wrong with the situation. And then I think there was some black folks that understood why that should have happened. And it was a great thing. You get, like I said, Shane, you got some women that are saying, thank God this brother finally stepped up and he and supported his black queen in front of everybody. Okay, that's a mentality there. Then there's another mentality of black folks that are saying, wait a minute. He just assaulted a man, and we should know that we don't have to put our hands on someone to get this situation solved. There are black people that think that. And then there's also some black people, such as myself, who said, I would have beat his ass. I just wouldn't have done it right then and there, right there live on TV. I would have caught him in the back. I'm that guy. So as far as, I don't think there's one thing in my personal opinion that we got in the black community of what happened there. I can tell you that as far as I'm concerned, a lot of black projects, a black involvement of the Oscars that night were superseded by this incident, such as the black producer and his team. I don't think they got the accolades they should have gotten. I think to be the first black team to do this and this happens, as ridiculous as it may sound, it might have tarnished what they were doing. That's not my opinion that it should tarnish, but there's going to be different personalities that feel like, oh, okay, they can't handle shit, because you'll be able to find some production problems in what they did. They should, when that happened, they should have musicked off. They should have faded out and they should have got shit under control. Will should have never been able to step up on stage and make that happen and make Chris Rock look crazy like that. They should have been able to go to a commercial break right after the smack or whatever. And it shouldn't, they left Chris Rock out there. Okay. They left. So they can blame that on the production team. They can blame that on them. And I don't need them blamed for anything, because who was expecting that? No one. Okay. And then the last point that I'll make on that is this. There are definitely some folks right now, Tiffany Hardish being one of them, who is saying that, damn right, he was supposed to put his hands on him. He was supposed to. Now, keep in mind, she one of them sisters that be talking about men and all that old shit out here too. About, I mean, I'm not saying anything derogatory. I like Tiffany. I've met her. Okay, and we've had a conversation. I promise you, she loves the fight game. Okay, she's in Vegas all the time, and people know that she's a Deontay Wilder fan. So I've had conversations with her, and she has rolled her eyes at me. She did some shit to me that I won't say anything. When we were getting on the escalator together, she said some fly shit to me, and I just let it roll off of me because I'm a passive type of dude. But she said some disrespectful shit to me, so I can only imagine what she must have said to Will and Jada, because they're friends. I can only imagine that she co-signed that shit that Will did. She made it feel okay for what he did. She was there. So now, brother, I'm gonna give the mic. I'm gonna give the floor to you. I'd like to know why you asked me that question, and can you answer your own question for me?
Yeah, I'll answer with this. So I believe the mentality or the impact, not the mentality, but the impact of this entire situation was a means of deflection. So I remember one time you and I had a discussion. How do you best control black folks? How do you best control them? Same way that I believe Malcolm X said back in 1959 or 1960, to control the black community, to divert their attention, their awareness. Use a comedian, an athlete, an entertainer, a musician to control them. They don't use, white folks don't use that to control white folks. They use money, power, and politicians. Okay?
Okay.
So in saying that, how much have you heard about these confirmation hearings since since Sunday evening?
Oh, you haven't heard anything.
Thank you.
But
So
you can say the same thing about the
whole situation here. Have the government-controlled media outlets run this whole entire situation to divert the attention away from what really matters to the black community.
Well, here's the thing. Then you would have to blame. Okay, so should Will had been more conscious of doing something that could be an uproar in this country when we have so much serious stuff going on, from inflation to a war going on that we're trying not to get pulled in, and also the confirmation. I mean, the fact that we're trying to get an African American woman in Supreme Court. Do that mean we need to be walking on eggshells so that we don't become a distraction? Is that a fair assessment or what?
No, not walking on no eggshells, but yet it's almost like what do you call that? Like when you give a child who's diagnosed with ADHD, you give them Ritalin. And we know Ritalin creates a paradoxical effect. Paradoxical effect meaning that you give somebody the medication for it, what is originally created to do. We know that Ritalin is an upwards of speed, but you give it to a child with ADHD, it creates a paradoxical effect, and they do exactly the opposite of what the medication is really created for, right? So when you look at that paradoxical effect here in America, you got Will Smith on one hand, who's there to receive an award for the documentary, not documentary, but King Richard movie. Mm-hmm. He's saying about love conquers this, love does that, but he gets caught up in the moment and he exhibits a complete different type of behavior. So which one is the black community more focused on? The negative behavior.
Well, I'll be honest and tell you this. I understand your point, Shane, and check this out. You notice that more people consoled Will Smith than they did Chris Rock. I didn't see Denzel. I didn't see any of them guys come to the rescue. Tyler Perry, any of them. I kind of understand why, because they, you want someone. Cause what happens is when you trying to settle someone down, sometimes you need a powerful influencer. How could you not see Denzel Washington as a powerful influence? You know what I'm saying? So that was the strongest move in unity that I seen that night, when you have such powerful black men in our community come to the rescue and try to step in and be vocal about, hey, you know, like Denzel said, you know, at your highest moments, this is when the devil will test you. And that was more powerful than the slap or anything that I seen that night. Okay. And that's what I take pride in, is how brothers came through. See, that's the ladies and the black men in my community when we were raised up, is to show us like, hey, bro, don't be doing that, man. Listen, there's other shit you can be doing out here. That's what we need to be focusing on more so than anything. I think Denzel's announcement from Will Smith did Will Smith a favor by making Denzel, you know, Denzel stepping up and saying that to Will Smith was amazing, okay? But it also showed that our leadership up there is very powerful, and there's unity, in my opinion. But I don't think that's getting enough praise. I don't think that enough people at this point is talking about the after effect. The after effect of now, like, if everybody would have jumped on, you know, people are going to play on Will, and they're going to make him out to be the bad guy. Okay. I think there's more to it than Will being a bad guy. I think Will was under a manipulative stress that made him do that. I don't think it was what Chris Rock said. Trust me. Will didn't see it the way Jada seen it. I know he didn't. Okay, but Jada got that look in her eye, and it was, nigga, you gonna let him talk about me like that, and you ain't gonna do nothing? You ain't gonna say nothing? She may not even have said you ain't gonna do nothing. She might have said you ain't gonna say nothing. And he chose to do something. All right, and that comes from all the stress, from all the things that red table and the internet and all the other shit has built up on Will. Will did. This is why I say this. I can't say that I'm mad at Will. I can only be a Monday morning quarterback and say I would have handled it different. But my wife ain't never been on social media talking about how she been smashing my daughter's boyfriends and shit. Like, I ain't been through all of that. Okay, so I don't know what would tip me over the edge and finally get me to jump out of my seat and go put hands on somebody. I don't live Will Smith's life. I'm just saying from my perspective, I would have did it a different way. Now, trust and believe I've been in a position, bro, where I really wanted to cuss somebody out or put hands on somebody, and I know what I have to risk. I know what I have to risk. And I also know that it could be somebody that has the same level of success that I have. Some people will punish you just because you did that to them. Like Chris Rock could probably get a $50 million settlement from this guy. You see what I'm saying? And there's people that will do that out here. But my thing is this. It's easy for me to sit here and say Will did it wrong, but I'm not in Will's skin. I don't deal with what he has to deal with a wife that has put him out on Front Street on all this stuff. They businesses on the red table, they family, the kids. Everybody's getting pushback from things that happened in that family a long time ago. And as a man of the family, you're responsible for all this criticism. You're the head of the household, and all that weight falls on your shoulder. So I'm going to not say that I'm pissed at Will, because I'm not, I don't have all that built up stress and anger that he may have been built up, that has built up on him. Okay, I'm not going to say that. I will say this. I've been at a point in my life, trust me, where I was in an issue, Shane. Shane, I've been there, bro. I've been looking for a motherfucker before. I said, when I catch that nigga, it's going to be a problem. Thank God, God was in my corner and didn't let me catch somebody. You understand what I'm saying? And you know, Will had his person in front of him. And all that frustration came out. And Lord knows, 15 years ago, if that person would have been in front of me, I might be headed out, you know, I might be on parole right now. I might be out on, you know what I'm saying? I might be out on parole. It's been about 15, 16 years now. So it ain't no telling what I would have done, but I was looking for some trouble because of what somebody did to me. And it's not easy for me to say what I say, but I will say that if I was Will, I would have did it different. But that's me being a Monday morning quarterback, bro. That's not me playing the game and being in fast pace. And this is what happened in that second and that second. It's not fair for me to say I wouldn't have done what he did, but it's fair for me to say I would have done it differently from the perspective that I'm sitting in now. Okay?
Now, with all that being said, the first question I asked is about the impact on the black community. Now, you know, one of the main missing components of this whole ordeal is?
What's that?
As a black community, as black men, how do we move forward?
How do we move forward?
How do we move forward, and how do we use this as a learning tool of what to do as well as what not to do?
Well, I can answer that real briefly, bro. It's kind of confusing, isn't it? Because the same thing that Will did, and this is going to be, some people are going to say this is a stretch. Some people are going to say, no, Wyatt, you're reaching on this. But the same thing Will did, by putting his hands on somebody based on words and stress, and I'm going to handle you. That's the same shit we're looking at that's going on at Target, Kroger's, Walmart. This is the shit that's going on in our parking lots. And this is why people are putting their hands on one another and they're playing with guns with each other. And it's defending, and it's all about you not going to disrespect me. Will wasn't going to go up there and shoot him, but some people on the streets, that's their way of doing, instead of slapping you, they going to shoot you. But it's the same principle of how you handle your problems. I'm going to use violence to handle my problem.
One of the things I learned in prison, a key component of how one carries himself on how they address matters or don't address matters is one word, starts with a C and ends with an N. Key word that many of us lack, especially black men, or effectively lack, is communication.
Okay.
Key component. How do you communicate? How do you express yourself in the midst of violence, in the midst of a situation that you feel perplexed, in the midst of a situation that you feel like you've lost control, and the only way you perceive yourself being able to regain control is by using violence?
I agree.
Take a look about this whole situation, not even for our generation. What about the generations coming up behind us? What was taught to our young black men that they witness every day? So now it's been further re-emphasized to them, and what transpired between Chris Rock and Will Smith, the lack of communication. Will been holding all this in, and Chris Rock just so happened to be the one that he could release it on.
I agree. Well, let me just say this to you, brother, because you're the perfect person. But this is one of the reasons this is gonna make people turn their nose up at me. They're gonna think I'm being sedity when I say this. And maybe I've been privileged to have 2 daughters. I know I've been privileged, but it's a little bit different when you have sons and daughters, I'm sure, in raising. I wouldn't know. I've never raised a son. But I will say this. I've never had to really spank my girls because I felt like spanking and using my hands, putting my hands on them, or spanking them with a whip or whatever the hell, the way I used to get my ass whooped, I felt like that was discipline with violence. That's just how I felt. And I think that if you put things in kids' life and you subtract those things to keep them balanced, I think that may be a little bit more powerful later on in life. You know, when you subtract things from their life. I think when you're raised up believing that putting your hands on somebody is the way you neutralize them, that might have a lot to do with your decisions on how you handle problems later on in life.
Yes, sir.
That's just my opinion.
Like with the two of them, like you say, yeah, granted, we can money quarterback all day, every day. Mm-hmm. But then what is the purpose and the benefit of Monday morning quarterbacking? To make sure the same mistakes that was made on Sunday don't happen on the next Sunday.
Right. No, I agree. So
the value of it.
So let me ask you this, Shane, and then I'm gonna get on out of here, bro. Mm-hmm. You the last caller of the night. Let me just ask you this, brother. What do you think the black community can take from what happened out of that situation? Because I heard you ask the question, but I'm asking you in a short, brief answer. What do you think we should take out of that situation, and how do we make it? What do we take out of that and make it better at this point?
Okay, what do we take out of it? Number one, as black men, stop holding everything, because under pressure, pipes do bust.
Okay, good point. Great point.
All right.
Great point.
So he could have taken that, all this stuff with the round table, and all the FINA and the whole 9 yards and all this other stuff here, all the scrutiny his family's been under for 2 years, with the position that Will is in. there's plenty of people he could probably reach out to release his frustration. All right? Communication is very detrimental in the black community, or the lack thereof, especially among black men. Going back, what did you say? Could you restate your question again? What was that?
No, I was just saying, what can we get out of this? This situation. What can we get out of it to bring to the community and make things? I mean, what's done is done. I think Denzel and Tyler Perry. I think Denzel for sure was a huge. He should be the one that we look to right now as being a leader in our community, more so than just a prominent actor. And I think you got to look at what he did to level out Will's thinking, and Will appreciated it because he made an announcement about it. Now, I don't know. Will's pretty savvy. He seems to be one of them type of dudes that can maneuver through bullshit. Like he's smart enough to use tools that most don't see laying there. And he may have been using Denzel Washington and his good presence and his great name to make that point, because Will, the devil didn't make you do that shit, bro. The devil didn't make you do that.
Right.
The devil had nothing to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, bro. Are you still there?
Oh, yeah. So what you just said right there is a key component to being how to be able to move forward. You said Tyler Perry and Denzel Washington stepped in, two pillars of that Hollywood community, stepped in, was able to get to Will. So going forward in our communities, who are the elders that our young people can rely upon to step in, to diffuse the situation, to use some crisis intervention, some crisis de-escalation techniques to diffuse this madness and irritation from black man to black man. That's key component right there. Having, and I did some of this when I was with the city, having quote unquote barbershop talks.
Okay.
Having platforms to where there's no formal agenda. You come in, sit down, and share what's on your mind, and we build dialogue based off of that.
I understand.
Dialogue, how to effectively be able to maneuver. You remember, like years ago, how if out in the streets somebody wild come on the block, they don't know how to conduct themselves in an orderly manner. OGs run them up off the block, or teach them how to carry themselves out in the community while they're on the block. Yeah, granted, it may have been as a quote-unquote wrong environment about negative behaviors and the whole 9 yards, but it's teaching them how to carry themselves to a degree. Switch it over to the positive side here. Being able, those of us like myself, you, and many other black men, Jesse and other folks, stepping in to diffuse these situations before they start.
I got you.
Because we've become a society.
You said the wrong name. You said the wrong name. You said Jesse. You said Mr. Controversy of all people. Do you know who that Negro is? He would have started. Listen, bro. If Jesse was there, if Morgan Freeman, who y'all see on the screen, Mr. Controversy was there, he would have did the same thing Will did. But he would have not only smacked his ass, he probably would have said, "Oh, you ain't gonna do nothing?" He would have hit him again, and he would have kept hitting him until they went to the commercial, because he's ignorant like that. Now, I'm just kidding. That's my man. He know I'm out there. He is gonna trip.
The work that he does with the kids in the community and stuff, right? By holding them accountable.
Yeah, I was only kidding. Jesse's great with the kids in the community. He knew I was clowning with him. I'm just trying to get him railed up for his show later. That's all.
Yeah. But seriously though, having this type of show, you're having your show, not only just on Facebook, but for an open forum.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, you figure when you're able to speak, you're able to literally express on what you've been holding in for so many years, so for such a long period of time, and having others in that crowd that experience similar situations like you. Now we can create dialogue and feed off of one another, like they stay iron sharpening iron.
Right.
But having key black men that help navigate these type of topics, these type of situations.
Well, I nominate Denzel. I'm not really big on Tyler Perry. I think he's a good businessman, but I don't look at him as being a leader in our community. Sorry. That's just my opinion. I think he needs to work on getting more positive black men on the screen than he does holding one from hitting one at the damn Oscars. Okay, that's just my opinion. I think he has a heavy responsibility of utilizing what he has done. I mean, you know, with his business. Okay, it's not he may not have a financial responsibility, or he may not have, and some may say, you know, he may not owe the community anything, but I beg to differ. I think the same people that build you up are the ones that you need to take care of when you get to where you're going. And I think that he has a big problem. He has a big platform that he can utilize to give us a little bit more strength and you know, presence as black men. That's just my personal opinion.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, Shane.
I know you got the ring, and we'll probably be talking for a whole nother hour, not even longer, man. But I appreciate you allowing me to be on your show.
Thank you. I appreciate you, brother. Let's talk soon. You know, we got April the 16th coming. That's Easter weekend, and you've always been out to the fight. So I look forward. Are you still coming or what?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Definitely
Okay.
coming.
I'll reach out to you later, man, and we'll talk. I already know what it is. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, brother. I appreciate you, Shane. That's my brother Shane Satterfield. Good guy, great guy. You know, he's a perfect example when I think of brothers in the household taking care of family and things of that nature. You know, that's why I get a little upset when I hear about, you know, black men this, black men that, black men all blah, 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 blah. Because I know a whole lot of brothers that take care of their business. A whole lot of us are married, handling our families and taking care of our business. But the view of us out here is very bleep on success. And that's why you can look at a situation that Will Smith just did and justify and think that it takes a black man to do what he did to defend his woman and his castle. No, bro. There's a lot of us out here that would have handled that situation a little bit different. I know what I just said when I said it ain't no telling. I said if I was Will Smith and going through all the shit he go through. If I'm Wyatt, if I'm Randall Wyatt and the pressures, I got pressures on my mind too. But I don't have all the shit that Will Smith got going on with his wife. I don't have that. But if I had what I got going on in my life right now, and Chris Rock would have said that about me and how my life is moving right now, I probably would have had a problem with what he said. But it wouldn't have been that much of a problem that I felt like I need to put my hands on him in front of everybody. I ain't saying I wouldn't have touched him. It just wouldn't have happened like that. Now, if I'm Will's been defending his relationship in public. All his shit is in the air in public. I can't tell you why Will shouldn't have done it. I'm not under his pressures. I don't know. But folks, let's be real. Let's be real. Tyler Perry ain't got no business up in there talking to no black man like that shit. What is he doing for black men? And y'all know I rock with him because of his great business savvy of opening up a Hollywood. But if you're going to keep putting black men in dresses in Hollywood, in your black Hollywood, bro, I can't condone that. Be mad at me if you want to. I can't condone that. If you're going to keep making men objects of your subject of your movies, and we're the waiting to exhale bad man all the time, then you're going to keep convincing sisters that there is no good black man out here. You're going to keep convincing them of that. You're going to keep lighting that fuse and having these sisters out here thinking, oh, I can't find nobody good. I can't find nobody. Fuck that. See y'all tomorrow, 5 o'clock, man. That's my time.
Can you dance? Let's find out. see everybody on the dance floor right now. I'm about to put y'all to the test. Let's go. Do you know the dances? Do you know the hip-hop dances? Let's see. This one is the raw for sure, taking no chances. Bringing back them old school dances, here's the answers. Whether you remember or you're new to this endeavor, dance is a major part of this culture forever. Why don't we preserve it if the children ain't learning? Culture ain't about just numbering and just wording. Sometimes you gotta show the culture at the party. Let's start with the Bismarck dance. Come on, everybody. The Bismarck, the party bout to get sparked. This is that moment you get live, get courage, get hard. I spit art, I'm one of a kind, they not me. I'm digitally underground like Shock G. Speaking of Shock G, when I jump, we jump. That's crisscross, but we talking about Humpty Hump. When you up, what? This is your chance. Come on everybody, do the Humpty dance. Let's go. Was the Humpty, now let's get it chunky. Like Bass used to say, yo, let's get funky. Funky, with the funk flow, we don't stop. Right about now, we gonna take it to the WAP. Remember the WAP, feet slide, shoulder drop. We did it in the clubs, we even did it on the block. Ready, set, go, stand on your spot. Take it to the top, come on y'all, let's do the WAP. Non-stopping, hip-hopping, we dropping. We ain't even get yet to popping or locking. It's shocking how many dance moves we came with. Obviously, we and the ancestors got the same gift, the same lift, the same riff, and the same split. Like Bob Marley said, when the music hits, it's painless. You can't tame this or hate this. You gotta love me. Come on, y'all, let me see you do the Dougie. Woo! That's right. That's right. This is that part where we go freestyle. Some of y'all doing the Cabbage Patch, some of y'all doing the Running Man. Let me see what you got. Come on.